This is Carolyn Ryan. She's the secretary at Cedar Grove Baptist Church. Has a long history here. And I'm going to ask you to just tell me a little bit about yourself, your family background, where you came from.
Well, I was raised just about 2 blocks from the church. And so my whole family came here. And as children, we just practically stayed at the church because all of our activities was geared around the church. And
Right. It's a social hub.
a social hub.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we had then.
But your parents were members here when
They
you started
were.
coming. Well, great. So how long have you been a member here?
Well, I was born in 1937, and I was here as a baby
Oh.
till I never did really move my membership, but when I was 18 and got married, well, then I did leave the church to go somewhere else for quite a few years, and so I came back here in about 2002.
Okay. Did your family influence your decision to join with this church?
Well, my family thought every time the church doors opened, we had to be here.
Yeah.
And, and Mother taught Sunday school here, and so really and truly, it was in walking distance, and everybody that I knew was connected to the church.
Yeah.
Of course, I came to Christ at our vacation Bible school
Oh, really?
when I was 12 years old.
Oh.
Where were you baptized?
In the creek, in Sanders Creek. We didn't have a baptism.
Uh-huh. So, how far back can you remember? What are the first memories of life at Cedar Grove? Was it here
It was here.
in this building?
And I remember when we didn't have the nice cedar benches at the time. We had the benches that had the
Slats.
slats in it, and you couldn't sit too long at a time. And we had, they still had a furnace, I guess, that that used wood at the time, and you would freeze to death back here and burn up at the front. But I remember, I don't know, I must have been 8 or 10 years old when we got butane heat, and we thought we was uptown. And what if you realize it or not, the benches that are here today, the wood was cut across the street off of Don Martin's property, and Mr. Corson owned Corson Seating at the time, and he built the benches for us, and that was really an upgrade to us.
Yeah.
And,
Now, Mr. Martin bought that property from the church, correct? Okay, I got that.
no,
wrong.
the church bought the property where the 2 houses are. They bought that from the Martins.
Oh,
Okay, I had it backwards.
Yeah.
okay. And you were baptized at what creek?
Sanders.
Is that
Wash
the one?
hole. That's where they used to go wash clothes.
Oh.
It's right behind Charles Shepherd's house now.
Oh, yes.
And I do remember all of the dinner on the ground and the all-day singings that we had. We had, where the daycare office is now, was this huge oak tree, and we always set the tables up there and had our dinner on the ground.
When they had revivals, did they ever have them outdoors?
No, but when we would have a revival, we always had cottage prayer meetings where people met in their homes and prayed for the revival coming up. And it seems like, I don't know if my memory is right or not, but it seems like we had 2 or 3 revivals a year.
Oh, my word.
So it was an exciting thing because you got to go to church every night.
Yeah.
So,
What were some memorable events in the life of the church in your early years here?
Well, we had a softball team for the young people, and of course, we didn't have a bus, and most of our parents didn't even have cars. So Leo Minor had this huge truck, big old, it wasn't a dump truck, but it was, I guess you hauled cattle in it.
Oh.
And he would pick us up, and we would go to Asheville or different places to play ball, and that was so much fun. And then at our vacation Bible school afterwards, we had a hay ride, and you'd load that truck full of hay, and we'd all get no seat belts of any kind.
That's what I was just thinking. Well, we all used to ride in the back of the truck, didn't we?
We
That was a
did.
thrill I liked. Have you ever held any positions in the church?
No, just
Secretary.
financial secretaries.
How's church changed from when you were really young?
Well, when I was young, the church was everything to the community. Everything, we had our Christmas parties and our Easter parties, and everything was conducted at the church. And we didn't have as much to distract us as the young people do today. They have televisions and games and movies. We didn't even go to a movie unless it was on Saturday. And I don't know that churches, I guess maybe they are as close as we used to be, but this church was always, a lot was family, and we was very close together. And when someone was sick, I know Mother used to give shots to anybody that needed shots. You know, she'd go and give them their shots and things. And when anybody died, they always brought the body home. And somebody in the community sat up all night with the family. I don't know why they were sitting up all night, because the person wasn't going anywhere. But that was just something that was just a real close-knit community, and we depended on the church for all of our needs, not only our spiritual needs, but sometimes our physical needs.
But back then, I guess everybody was kin to each other.
Just about.
Who was the pastor
Oh,
when
my
you were
gracious.
little?
If you had to ask me, we had so many.
Yeah.
Who baptized you?
That's what I'm trying to think of his name. He had a son named Gene.
I can't remember any of the names that are on the list of pastors.
But I tell you, just about everyone we had then, they would always end up at your house sometime through
For
the
lunch.
week to eat.
Yeah.
And then I guess the most recognizable name we had was Brother Glenn and Brother Ezel, you know. But Brother Campbell was the one that baptized me.
And which pastor would you say had the most lasting impression on your life?
Well, really, Brother Billy.
Yes. What about the dear old saints that you remember from years ago? Tell us about some of these people.
Well, Ruey Jones, I always remembered. I loved when we had dinner on the ground, because Miss Ruey always fixed something special. And of course, then there was Bet and Marlene Palmer, and my Aunt Nanny that was Frances DeShazier. She was one of my favorite ones, but I remember so many of them, you know, in such a fond way, and they was just like, it was just like all of them were kin to me, you know, and they didn't mind correcting us if we was getting out of hand. Or, and for vacation Bible school, we had vacation Bible school for 2 weeks, because none of the women worked. And we had it during the day, and we had, the women would make Kool-Aid, fix Kool-Aid and homemade cookies for our refreshments. And one time, I guess it was the last day of vacation Bible school, well, we didn't have any dessert because we was gonna leave at 12 o'clock, and we were all out front under the tree here and getting ready to dismiss, and an ice cream truck, it's a little square truck, passed, and when it got right in front of the church, the back door flew open, and 3 of those big old, they were cardboard cartons back then, fell out right in front of the church, and that old door kept flopping, but of course nobody here had a car to go stop him, which that to me was just a gift from God, because we didn't get ice cream very often. It was usually homemade ice cream, so we really had a blast for the last day of Bible.
Manna from heaven.
But most of the things that I remember about our church was the Sunday school teachers, and I had quite a few of those. But remembering when I studied about missionaries, I just, in my mind at that time, because we didn't have televisions and we didn't really, I didn't understand what it was to go on the foreign field, because I thought going to my grandfather's across what's now the interstate, I thought that was foreign. But we studied about the missionaries and what they had to give up to go on the mission field for the Lord, and that made a lasting impression in my life. How, you know, I just have a compassion for those that can go to the mission field and give up all that they have. So the church spiritually had a big impact on my life, and praise God that He has kept the church together, and the church is growing, and we see the fruit of the things that happened here at the chapel from some of the people that's now gone on before us, you know, but it was just a blessed place to be.
They left their legacy.
Right.
Was there ever a time that you needed spiritual guidance, and a Sunday school teacher or a friend or a lay person or a preacher helped you go through this?
Well, it was usually a Sunday school teacher, and I always needed guidance.
Who were your favorite Sunday school teachers?
You know, I guess I had so many that I couldn't really put a name on who my favorite was, because they were all very special, you know, and I wouldn't want to single out one before, and two, my mind is getting a little dull, so I really can't remember. There was so many that was involved with just the young people, and I tell you, we didn't have what you call a youth director at the time, but all of them was willing to help you or give you advice.
But Billy's been a blessing to you, hasn't he?
Billy's been a very blessing to me.
Yeah. He asked everybody, not only in the church, but the community.
Billy's a very special pastor.
So how do you think the church has changed, not just physically, but how do you think the church has changed in the years, over the years since you've been a member?
I think the church has grown an awful lot, because when I was a kid coming to the church then, we only knew, you know, we didn't have the equipment or the Sunday school lessons and things that we have today.
Yeah.
And so I think through the mission studies and our literature that we have, even though our literature was good at the time, but I think because of all of the information and all of the literature we have today, I think that's one reason the church, it helps the church grow. And I know that our church is a giving church. In my day, people didn't have money or things to give. so they give their time to each other. And, but nowadays people God has blessed so many with so much, and they always willing to give a hand. And we're very good to support our missionaries, and we do have quite a few that we do support. And we have several from our own church that you used to just, when I was a kid, I didn't know a missionary.
Right.
But now I know missionaries that's been on the field and are still on the field, and it's just a thrill to know that they're serving the Lord like they do today.
And to know them personally. How would you complete this sentence? God is calling Cedar Grove to
be a lighthouse in the community. I mean, it's good to have missions, but we've got a mission right here in Leeds and Moody. And I think that's our calling as a church.